I've been working with cedar, Western red cedar, since 1975. Want to turn it? This one? Yeah, thanks. Up to this point, it seems to be the material that has come closest to saying what I need to say through my work. I usually react to the 4x4 that's beneath it, and then I determine whether or not I want to stretch this. I want to agitate that look a little bit more. I had some kind of an idea as to what possibilities there might be for that full-scale model, which has essentially all of the forms already on it, what that might look like in pounded copper. And there's a way in which the pounded copper reads so differently, both psychologically and physically so differently from the wood, but one could project. I tried to project. I didn't project exactly at all what was coming out, but that was the leap that I had to have faith in, and I'm sure glad I did.
The great surprise of this sculpture, in a way, is the fact that Ursula audaciously wanted to work with copper.
Copper, when it's exposed to the environment, you see the time evolution of materials, of substance.
The use of that material, for me, was layered into some of the reasons why the Andlinger Center exists.
A large part of what we do is to create new materials that interact with the environment in different ways, and in particular, we hope will, for example, find new ways of converting sunlight into electricity and sunlight into fuels. Science and engineering has so much creativity associated with it, and it manifests in a different way than in the art world, but what they have in common is creating something new, whether it's new knowledge or some new tangible object. The building is really an embodiment to, the greatest goals of all, which is preserving the planet, preserving civilizations.
The Andlinger Center feels to me like poetic architecture.
The fact that Tod and Billie, as the architects, brought materials together in, I think, really profoundly beautiful ways between, this very flat brick that holds the light very differently than do the reflective glass surfaces.
It's filled with natural light. There's lots of windows that essentially allow you to look out onto the environment, onto nature. I was so impressed when I spent time going into New York to meet with Richard Weber and with Ursula about the process in which the sculpture was being made.
They all come apart.
This is a bronze frame that we're putting over something that is metal.
Every bit of it involves handiwork and very hard, consistent, patient work.
I go on the wooden model and I go along the different seams and copy the curvature of that line that's cutting through. And I try to make it as flush and exact as possible, which takes a while because if you make it a little, every time you make a bend, you're introducing a little bit of error. So that's what I do.
I feel like this project for Princeton was teetering on the impossible. because of how terrifically labor intensive it was.
Something you have to enjoy.
It was only because I found somebody as able and capable as Richard Weber, you know, that this project was able to be seen through.
When I told her, I said, this is going to be a lot of work. I don't think anybody else will ever attempt that. She was like, okay, let's do it. You know? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
With the way you draw it. The white line on the bottom indicates that this structure, this wave, this fold, whatever this is over here. And then by the time you get to the top, it's over here. In other words, what that indicates is a pull to this side, a pull to this side. But everything gets pulled differently. You know, it's one of the things as I go around the scaffolding, when I'm working, and especially when these structures get so huge, you know, I actually think about it. Come on, Ursula, push it harder. You know, make it. You know, if it needs more juice, if it needs more drama, you know, I really squeeze it. But you can see in the way that you overlap your lines that push. But
you make your shift across the surface.
Right. That's
and
right.
your individual faces. So
That's right.
So that's where you get all that movement that's in your
right.
work.
That's right.
And it's fascinating. So and challenging for all of us, you know, which makes it fun. This is what we're talking. This is where personally I'm finding your undercuts very exciting. Your cut-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where
Yeah.
this side goes up, and you can see where it's going to start to come back out.
Yeah.
You know, and we're cutting in, and we're going to start coming back out a little bit.
Yeah.
Explaining the potential and what we can do, developing a methodology to do that, and visualizing a structure. And that's my role. Translating Ursula's cedar piece to copper.
He manages metal like some people work with clay.
With Ursula's pieces, they do a lot of the cutting with circular saws. So all the texture and surface character of her wood reflects that. Now her surface character is going to be determined by the metal tools.
So it's about how to manipulate copper and how you interpret the surfaces. And all of that is thanks to the training that Richard gave them.
Everybody interprets it differently. Everybody sees different things. The key thing that I have to do in this, you know, it's like, okay, look at this face. This is a frame. Try to pick out a few characteristics. We're not trying to render everything. This is not literal. We're going for feeling. You got to feel this, you know. So I'll teach you how to create lines and how to create volume and form and how to cut so you can put copper in and create little shelves and facets and stuff. But once I teach you that, then you kind of have to venture out on your own. You got to catch the movement, because Ursula's piece has a lot of movement. And now we're to a point where you can see it start to grow, and those single cells become a living organism in a sense. At least I get the feeling.
To see it go from being kind of roughly proportional to human dimensions, and then suddenly it's so much larger than we are and has a very different kind of presence. Several things strike me about engaging with Ursula during the installation. The incredible kind of intensity of her focus, the precision in the way that it had to be assembled on site, the expertise required to safely assemble a piece of that scale.
That's it. Or is he down all the way?
Yeah, we're down.
Yeah. Give me a bolt. I got it.
While I'm making the work, there are feelings that I have. These are emotions that I can best explore, and it's not necessarily at all logical or rational, but it's a force that pushes me.
I am enormously drawn to its scale and the complex material surfaces of it, the way in which the thousands of hand-hammered copper sheets reflect changing light conditions depending on the time of day you see it.
I'm actually looking forward to the transformation, allowing copper to become what it needs to become, given that it's gone outside. It will be the recipient of rain, of snow, of wind and of the sun, of heat and the cold and all of that, that it will have the opportunity to react to and change.
I think there's a great metaphor in that for the unpredictable, the concerns that so many of us have for the fragility of the world around us.
People connect through art. The beauty of the sculpture that she's created really speaks to our aspirations.
In many ways, I don't make a work to please others. That's all I can do is to concentrate on what it is that I want from that work, what it is that I want to squeeze, out of these structures, these forms that I use. And I work with that to keep it simple, keep it within me, within my will, within my wants.